In a world where superhumans can fly through the sky or lift buildings over their head, it takes a lot more than a pair of tights for a mere mortal to stand out from the crowd.
But these guys have it covered. Like Leonardo, head honcho of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And Nightwing, the original protege of Batman.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. From the vastness of space to the eerie depths of the ocean, few places remain as mysterious and unknown as the New York City sewer system.
Anything could be down there. Killer alligators, mole people, or even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Four ordinary domestic terrapins transformed into humanoid superheroes by a chance encounter with a canister of mysterious mutagenic ooze. They were adopted by an equally mutated rat skilled in martial arts who decided to name them after Renaissance artists.
You know, even by comic book standards, this origin story is pretty freaking weird.
Master Splinter trained them as ninja, and the group formed a daring crime-fighting team. But every team needs a leader.
Donatello did machines, but tactics? Nah. Raphael was tough, but way too hot-headed. And Michelangelo? Well, we all know he got dropped as a kid. So the obvious choice was the true blue Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, close enough. Of all the turtles, Leonardo was the most studious and focused when it came to Splinter's lessons, and soon adopted the principles of Bushido.
Kind of weird since that's a samurai code and he's a ninja, but whatever.
The modern tenets of Bushido have evolved over the centuries, but it essentially boils down to 8 virtues: righteousness, courage, compassion, respect, honesty, honor, duty, and self-control. All of which frankly describes Leonardo to a T.
AKA, he's super dedicated to being a goody two-shoes. And he's a badass when it comes to fighting. He's like the Bruce Lee of reptiles. And since he's a turtle, Leo's got super speed and super strength.
I'm not sure the science checks out on that one.
He's also got that super tough shell and some radical ninja weapons.
Right, but before we go any further, we should address that there are multiple iterations of Leonardo across different media and timelines. As none of them can really be considered the main one, we're taking all standard versions into account, or anything that's reasonable, consistent, or viable across his multiple histories.
So we're not including anything that's too out of the ordinary, like those weird double mutations or that time he became a goddamn dragon. I mean, good on you, Leo, but that's a little out of your typical wheelhouse.
Leonardo is a master of Niten Ichi-Ryu, a Japanese fighting style using twin katana. Although Leo's swords are typically a more recent variant called ninjaken, basically just katana without the curve.
Still way better than wielding tiny forks or a literal stick. Seriously, who picked out the other turtle's weapon?
Leonardo's ninjaken are incredibly deadly, even sharp enough to slice through metal.
But he still finds ways to break those things all the time. Good thing he's also got kunai, smoke bombs, shuriken, climbing claws, grappling guns, hell, most of the Batman-approved gear. In his latest outing, he's even got this Odachi, basically the claymore of ninja swords, but it's super special.
Right, with a swing of the blade, it can open portals that can take its wielder anywhere from across the room or all the way to Tahiti.
Time for a vacation! Yeah!
Oh, be careful! Bending the rules of space could be catastrophic.
Yeah, relax, Wiz. I totally have what it takes to pull this off. Okay, maybe I'll go with the staycation instead.
Probably for the best. Weapons aside, Leonardo has proved skilled enough to master rare ninjutsu knowledge such as the Healing Hands Mantra, a meditation technique.
Say goodbye to that nasty migraine or pesky stab wound.
Not quite potent enough to heal fatal wounds, but useful nonetheless.
Other than that dude's fast enough to outrun explosions and has even dodged lightning.
This enemy in particular was specifically granted the power of a storm, implying these bolts are comparable to natural lightning. Therefore, Leonardo must be able to react to things 280 times faster than sound.
Ha! And you thought turtles were slow. Also, he's strong enough to push over a giant pillar to crush a cockroach monster, go toe-to-toe with Baron Draxum, who survived this explosion, and held open the jaws of a monster-fied T-Rex.
The Tyrannosaurus is theorized to have had a bite force of 12,800 pounds per square inch, 6 times more powerful than an alligator.
And best of all, even across multiple timelines, good old Leo is usually the one to take down the turtle's biggest villain and least useful kitchen utensil, the Shredder. No wonder he's the leader. Leo's a boss.
Sure, he may have a habit of questioning his own abilities and decisions, but hey, he's a teenager. Par for the course.
One thing's for sure, he's a mean, green fighting machine who's always up for a shell of a good time.
Tastes cold steel!
In modern times, the questionable whimsies of the circus are all but dead.
And good riddance, because the world doesn't need any more clowns.
Yet in its heyday, few performances could top the trapeze mastery of the Flying Graysons.
Well, until a mobster cut their cord on life short. Literally.
But they had a son, young yet just as talented as them. Orphaned and alone, all seemed hopeless for Dick Grayson.
Until he scored the coolest foster dad in the frickin' universe, the goddamn Batman.
And under the Cape Crusader, Dick wasn't just a son, he was a sidekick, a superhero. He was Robin. Until he wasn't.
You got knocked the out, man!
Robin spent many, many years kicking bad guys around the back alleys of Gotham City with his new dad. Who could forget the time he crushed Blockbuster under a truck, or when he whipped out that shark repellent? Never leave home without it, kids.
But then Batman suddenly realized, you know what? Bringing kids into battle is actually a bad idea. So he fired him, and then promptly forgot this little revelation.
Holy time to update the resume, Batman. Probably for the best, though. I mean, come on! The kid didn't even have a proper pair of pants. What's your problem, Bruce? Whoa! The mouth on this one.
Actually, it was for the best, though not in the way Batman hoped. Inspired by a story of an ancient Kryptonian superhero, Dick took to the streets by himself with a brand new uniform and a brand new name. From then on, he would be known as Nightwing.
Gotta hand it to Bats. He sure knows how to mold a kid into a criminal-crushing machine. With expertise in taekwondo, ninjutsu, aikido, and a bunch of other styles, Nightwing is one of the finest martial artists in comic book history.
No doubt helped by his world-class acrobatic skills. He is one of only 3 people on Earth who are capable of performing a quadruple flip.
And between the fancy schooling he got at Hudson U and being a founding member of the Teen Titans, he's got brains and brawn. Plus a whole lot of weapons.
Nightwing's suit is lightweight, bulletproof, and makes virtually no sound when moving. The blue colors even turn black while in the dark. His mask features a holographic UI, complete with night vision and a spectral analyzer.
He's rocking utility belts on his wrists and ankles full of lockpicks, smoke pellets, and staples that are so strong they can support the weight of a freaking helicopter.
He also carries a rebreather, grapple gun, and wingdings.
That weird alien font with all the shapes? Oh, I'll figure out your secret one day, Wingdings.
No, more like the Batarangs or thrown shurikens. The standard Wingdings are extremely sharp, but he also carries dulled, ultrasonic, and explosive variants.
But let's get to the good stuff, like his 2 screaming sticks.
Eskrima sticks.
That are great for beating the shit out of people. And they'll be pretty shocked when they find out Nightwing has wired them with 50,000 volt tasers.
Despite their falling out, Nightwing clearly remains inspired by the gadgets and skills of his baddie mentor, and he's put them to good use.
He's strong enough to punch people through solid walls and smash through a sheet of ice from underwater and hold back the 19,000 pounds per square inch bite force of an orca.
And while breaking a car window doesn't sound impressive, Nightwing's done so while the car was underwater and therefore pressurized. To pull this off, he needed to impact the glass with over 24,000 pounds per square inch.
He's quick enough to dodge point-blank gunfire, skilled enough to leap through the city while blindfolded, and tough enough to survive falling off a building.
Generally, any unsafe landing over 21 feet is guaranteed to break bone.
And Nightwing dropped 140 feet onto his butt, and he was fine. And we've all fallen on our tailbone. That shit sucks.
At one point, Nightwing spent 96 hours patrolling city streets looking for the criminal mastermind Two-Face, and an additional 5 or more hours collecting evidence. A 2010 study on sleep deprivation noted that 72 hours without sleep leads to a number of horrendous side effects, including hallucinations.
But when it was time to leap between blimps hundreds of feet in the air and give Two-Face the beatdown he deserved, you couldn't even tell Nightwing was in desperate need of a nap. And don't forget, he was trained by the #1 detective in the world. He's good enough to solve a kidnapping with a single look at the scene of a crime.
Even more impressive, he once performed a skydive at 930 miles per hour, which took all of 15 minutes. That puts his starting position around 25 miles high and free-falling faster than the speed of sound. For reference, real-life Austrian athlete Felix Baumgartner performed a similar great leap from 24 miles up, hitting a maximum speed over 800 miles per hour. To pull this off, he needed a specialized suit to protect him from the extreme cold, unfiltered sunlight, and lack of oxygen. One mistaken movement could have put him into a rapid spin, rendering him unconscious and causing his blood to boil.
And Nightwing just did it without any of that. Damn!
He's certainly tough, but he's had his fair share of losses. His scarred body is proof of that.
And eventually, him and Bats finally made up. He even took up the cowl himself when Batman was out for a while. Nightwing is one superhero who will always come out on top, along with his partners, Jim and Juan.
What?
I mean, it's right here in the intern's notes. Who's Jim and Juan?
Oh, that's the names these ladies gave his butt cheeks.
Oh, well, guess you can't argue with the ass on that dick.
Robin?
I haven't used that name in a long time. Call me Nightwing.
Bet and SAR's set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle! Looks like Nightwing totally didn't see that coming.
The winner is Leonardo.